A landscape tucked away in one of the remote corners of this planet. It's one of the most beautiful places on Earth that's over 80 million years old and practically untouched. Towering waterfalls, mountain peaks, majestic fjords, almost 5,000 square miles of endless, breathtaking vistas. This is the iconic landscape of New Zealand. Welcome to Fiordland National Park. Whoa, wait a second. Fiordland National Park is one of the wettest, most rugged, most isolated places on this planet. It can chew you up and spit you out if you are not ready for the torrential rainfalls, avalanches, and epic terrain that you have to cross in order to experience this land.
This whole place has totally come alive with waterfalls.
This place will make you cry from the beauty and ache from the pain, and I'm a sucker for it, which is why I'm embarking on the 5-day, 4-night, 54-kilometer, 33.5-mile Milford Track, known as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, walk in the world. This is Fiordland National Park. This is the South Island of New Zealand. Let's go. The Milford Track has been on my list to do as a multi-day hike, very high up on the bucket list since 2006 when I first went to New Zealand, and the country stole a piece of my heart. I call it my soul home. A part of me is there, and it will always be there. So it is such an honor for me to be able to do one of the greatest walks of the world and share this journey with you, and why this journey is not only so beautiful, but also so epic, so profound, and incredibly challenging. The journey that we're going to go on together, it's going to cover all of the emotions. We're going to start with the beautiful heart of what it's like to be in the rainforests of Fiordland and getting initially started on the Milford Track. This is also an incredibly challenging trek when you go over the highest point known as the McKinnon Pass, because that is where the weather can change in a matter of minutes. And then we're going to traverse towards a very bittersweet, very beautiful, and very satisfying end when we get to Sandfly Point and have achieved 33.5 miles, covering some of the most beautiful terrain I have ever seen to this day in my life. Now let's talk about what's absolutely critical to make the Milford Track not only a success, but keeping us safe. There are only 3 designated lodges where you can stay overnight with a bed, with proper accommodations and food over the course of 33.5 miles, which means this isn't the type of multi-day expedition that you can just pitch a tent whenever you want to take a break. No, it's quite different. We absolutely have to get to every single checkpoint every single day, starting on day 1 when we take the boat from Glade Wharf to Glade House. So my journey begins at Ultimate Hikes headquarters in the heart of Queenstown, New Zealand, and then we do a very brief pre-trip briefing, making sure everyone has all of the gear that they need. And then this eager hiker, who cannot wait to get the journey started, gets to the bus a little bit earlier before everyone else to get my seat and then sit back for an hour and enjoy the beautiful ride from Queenstown to Glade Wharf. The bus ride in and of itself was awesome. You get to go past the 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪 mountain range of Queenstown. You get to drive past beautiful farms where there are deer and sheep as far as the eye can see. And then all of a sudden, we see this beautiful boat waiting for us to take us on the 1-hour journey from Glade Wharf to Glade House, which traverses a beautiful sound in Fiordland National Park. And I will tell you, one may think that a lovely boat ride sounds very comfortable and nice to experience, which it is, especially if you choose to stay inside and tucked away from the elements. But I would highly recommend that you go to the outdoor seating, be on the top of the boat, feel what it feels like to be in this raw and rugged terrain, because part of what makes New Zealand so rugged and so epic is that you have these epic currents that come from the north of Australia to the south of Antarctica, and they meet at the intersection where New Zealand sits. So you are in an incredibly windy part of this planet. And I will tell you, as beautiful as it was to see the fjords, to be able to look out in the distance with this awe and wonder of where will the track begin, when will we turn that corner and see the spot where the boat's going to land, where we can walk to our first lodge for the night. There's this anticipation and there's a nervousness too, because the skies are ominous, they're dark, they're stormy, and the wind is like nothing else I've experienced. I couldn't even talk on the boat ride because the wind literally took my breath away. All of a sudden we come around this bend. We could see the final docking area, and all of a sudden it starts to feel real as we get off the boat and make our way in our first steps to see the site of the Glade House and also that sign showing the Milford Track.
For the duration of this video, it is highly likely that I will get bitten by several sandflies, but I don't care because what's behind me is that kind of awesome. I am surrounded by 360 degrees of phenomenal fjords and waterfalls everywhere that I have just found out apparently change all the time based on rainfall and snow melt, and they're always in different locations, and it is so peaceful here. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no cell phone reception. It's just being out in nature. And there's my bed for the night. Most importantly though, what really matters is not any of that stuff, but what really matters is what's right here.
Waking up on day 2, all of a sudden it hits, and this is when our 33.5-mile hiking journey officially begins. We will be traversing 16 kilometers or 10 miles from the Glade House to 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗄 Lodge. That is our next checkpoint. And the reason why getting to 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗄 Lodge is so important is because that is the closest stop where you can rest your head for the night before tackling the biggest challenge of the Milford Track on day 3, which is the McKinnon Pass. That is the highest and the most treacherous point on the trail. But for right now, we have our first mission to tackle for today, and this early bird is ready to get the journey going.
This is the problem with being an early bird, is that you're ready to go hours before. I just wanted to get a sneak peek while there's no one else out. It's a very rare opportunity to just enjoy the track by myself and to share with you. So, the first fun crossing is going to be a series of swing bridges across the river. Just in the second mile of this track and already experiencing views like this that are phenomenal. I have been walking the majority of today completely by myself. I have somewhat strategically placed myself in between the fastest and the slowest group, taking my time meandering through the forests of the Milford Track, just being. And it's the most beautiful thing. It's so peaceful. It's so quiet. All you hear are water, birds. Listen. This track is one of the most fascinating places I have been in. So all behind me, you have this beautiful temperate rainforest filled with ferns and moss and lichen and trees just covered. Everything is so lush and so green. And then behind me, you have this amazing alpine environment where there is waterfall after waterfall after waterfall on these massive peaks way up here. and then just this beautiful snow melt. So it's really wild because you're seeing this rainforest climate and then alpine climate at the same time. It's such a strange and rare thing to experience. It's probably part of what makes this place so wet, but most importantly, so special and unlike really any other place. You can see why this whole area is called the 8th wonder of the world. All right, just to give you a sneak peek of what day 3 is all about, it is going over the highest part of the Milford Track, which is the McKinnon Pass. And that is what you see way, 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 way in the distance, covered in clouds right now and just popping out as a silhouette. We have been very highly forewarned that the McKinnon Pass will instantly become alpine-like conditions because of the 2,000-foot elevation gain, I believe is what we're taking tomorrow. And call me crazy, but that stuff gets me super excited. That's gonna be like the best part of the trail. You never know what kind of conditions are gonna happen. It could be total whiteout, we can't see anything, or it could be phenomenal blue, clear skies, and it could do both in like 10 minutes. So who knows, but wanted to give you a sneak peek of what that is happening tomorrow.
You know, it's really cute and true how excited I am on this day and this part of the track when I can see way, way in the distance where the high point of the McKinnon Pass is, even though it's all covered in these dark and ominous clouds. But I will tell you too that underneath that layer of excitement, there's trepidation too. You start to see the danger signs and the avalanche signs, and it starts to get really, really real. Very easy to get comfortable as you're walking through the rainforest. It's very comfortable, it's relatively flat, it's very peaceful, you hear birds everywhere, and you got everything that you need on your backpack. But it's really important to not get too comfortable because, as you're going to see in day 3, this terrain is going to challenge me, and it's going to challenge me very, very quickly because the weather and how quickly it turns. It's a rude awakening.
I have no idea where the bus actually goes from here because it has been nothing but trail for hours. That's what they mean by the bus stop. All right, now that makes sense. Going to the right tonight and to the left tomorrow. And that is a wrap for day 2.
I'm such an optimistic soul. Even when I go to bed and the rain is dumping down and the guides say it will probably last throughout the night and into the next day, and it's a rough night's sleep because you hear the rain constantly hammering on the metal roofs. Hate it when the forecast is right. Torrential rain for hours. That's what we have facing us for day 3. So not only is this going to be the most difficult day by traversing the McKinnon Pass, doing an elevation gain of a couple thousand feet, over 9 miles, 15 kilometers, up multiple zigzag paths to get to the most high exposed part of Fiordland National Park. And our guides have strongly advised us that not only will this rain continue, it will continue for the next 4 to 5 hours easily, and it will easily continue going all the way up to the McKinnon Pass. They have braced us to be prepared with layers, to dress so we stay warm, to make sure we have extra layers so that we can stay dry, because if we don't, it's about to get very treacherous very quickly as the temperature is going to drop significantly. That is what's ahead for us. We technically have 2 checkpoints. Yes, there's the Quinton Lodge, which is our end destination, the final lodge, where we will rest our very tired heads this evening. But our first checkpoint is the Pass Hut. It is going to be absolutely critical that we get there because of the forecast that lies for us ahead.
Morning from day 3. We are getting fully rained on all day today going up the McKinnon Pass. But if we're lucky, we're gonna be able to see hundreds of waterfalls along the way. This entire valley is coming alive with water because we have been getting dunked on all night. Can't see anything right now, but hopefully the visibility is better when we get out there. Here's day 3.
I like how there is the cute little Christmas tree here because at the time of doing this trek, it was in mid-December, just a few weeks before Christmas. And just those little twinkling Christmas lights were a nice little dose of warmth in contrast to the ominous, epic skies, the dark clouds, and the pouring rain outside. It was that nice little dose of cheer that I think we all needed for that little boost before we stepped out to get instantly soaked.
Good morning! It is full on rain. Just walked in water that was up to my calves. My feet are completely soaked, but who cares? Look at this, would ya? Oh my God. Insane.
Woo! This whole place has totally come alive with waterfalls. I mean, there's dozens of them. It's amazing.
Being able to be in a place where you could literally count with more than 2 hands how many waterfalls you can see in one line of view, it's remarkable. And I realized very quickly doing this that as wet and cold as I was, that if it wasn't for the rain, there wouldn't be the magic that we get to experience here. It's the rain that makes this happen. And I think we were all feeling that as we were going through this journey, because we realized what we were able to see is not something that most people get to see.
Everything is just so soaked, but so worth it. You would never see waterfalls like that on a sunny day. Apparently when it's sunny, they just go away. Massively grateful for this weather. It's awesome. My feet are soaked, swimming in pools of water. Ooh, this will be fun. Here we go. Yeah, I'll show you kind of what this hike is.
I am right behind the guides, which is one of my favorite places I love to hang out. I actually feel a lot more confident. But here we all are, hooting and hollering, and I'm just looking at these guides with their massive packs that have emergency gear, survival gear, radios, base layers, food, everything to take care of the 12 of us. And I just got to give them some massive props for doing this as their job, because God only knows how many times they get rained on doing this track day in and day out. I want to paint the story for you of what we experience over the next hour. The guides actually have to fall back because there are a couple of hikers that are really slow and they're slipping and they're having a very difficult time getting up this pass. Now, this path to get up to the McKinnon Pass is filled with so many zigzags. You're constantly going back and forth, and it is punishing. The weather gets so much worse and the temperatures drop so quickly that it actually became dangerous for me to have my phone out and keep filming. So the hootin' and hollerin' is far gone. That ended hours ago, and you can just feel the energy change. It's like this weight that is all of a sudden coming on everyone's shoulders. There is nothing more dangerous than being completely soaked as you are getting into colder and colder temperatures, because you are losing body heat so quickly. But what was also really concerning is that you are going at such a pace, going up such an elevation gain, that you start to sweat too. So not only are you getting wet from the rain, you're getting wet from the sweat. And all of a sudden, the rain starts to feel a little different. All of a sudden, it starts to not only touch your jacket, but it starts to hit you, and it starts to become pellets, and it starts to bounce off of you, and you realize, oh my God, we have to keep going, but the rain is turning to sleet. It is now so cold that it is ice. We are literally hiking in ice. So just imagine all of this happening and why it was so impossible to get footage until we get to the top, which is supposed to be the iconic celebratory moment. You get to the top of the pass and you can see fjords all around you, and it's magical, and we are gobsmacked by snow. It is a total whiteout.
This is the top of McKinnon Pass. Here's a memorial erected for Quentin McKinnon, who discovered this trail in 1888. And we are at the top of a very snowy alpine terrain at the moment in practically whiteout conditions. Somewhere around us are really awesome fjords and waterfalls. Right now, this camera is getting completely blitzed with snow as hikers are making their way up. But it is epic, and paying some awesome homage to this amazing explorer who found this way through this beautiful part of the world.
If you can look closely, you can see my rain jacket is completely soaked, which means my backpack is completely soaked, even though I and my other colleagues had a rain fly on. But the down jacket underneath, that little bit that you see sticking out, that is also getting completely soaked, because once a little bit of down gets soaked, it starts to spread throughout the rest of it. So I'm being such a trooper here though, because I had to document this moment, being at the highest point of the pass, and give you a sense of what the elements are, to experience this moment together and to celebrate it no matter what the weather was. There are so many clouds, you could maybe see 20 feet ahead of you. All of a sudden I see this figure emerging out of nowhere, and all I'm thinking is, who is this person and where did they come from? Little did we know that the guides who are in the back of the pack, making sure everyone is getting up safely, not slipping, not getting injured, are radioing up to the guide that is sitting in the warming hut, the pass hut, preparing hot chocolate for us. And once that guide in the pass hut knew that we were about to reach the top of the McKinnon Pass, that was the figure I see emerging from this foggy, murky, cold, desolate, exposed place, holding a thermos and cups of hot chocolate, which again is supposed to be the celebratory cheers drink, and we were just drinking it out of necessity and gratitude. I cannot tell you how great a hot drink tasted that was chock full of sugar. It was the most delicious hot chocolate I have ever had in my life. And massive props to that guide standing out in the exposed elements, waiting for every single one of us to make it to the top. One of the scariest parts in the pass hut is all of a sudden one of the women in the group starts shivering massively. And the guides all of a sudden just start stripping all of her clothes off because she is borderline hypothermia. And if that situation got worse, she is in such an isolated area that no one could get to her. So the guides had to make sure that they're warming her up, wrapping her in blankets, wrapping her in anything they could possibly find, and sitting her right in front of the furnace and giving her some fuel so she's able to recover enough. Because not only does she have to recover and warm her body up, she has to recover and get back down. So I will tell you, in that moment, I was just praying and hoping that something would change. Please let the weather pass. Please let this change for us. Like, please give us some safety in this passage on our descent down, because it was starting to get really scary when you could actually see it affecting the health and well-being of the fellow hikers that I was with on this journey. Thankfully, she was okay, and we were all able to make our way back down.
This is officially the craziest hike I've ever done. Thank God for the people, the guides of Ultimate Hikes, who hooked me up with some extra base layers because I was completely soaked and it was a little dodgy, but I feel ready to go and ready to enjoy these amazing views as much as we can see. Let's do this thing. Nothing better than being on an alpine pass. You never know what the weather's gonna do.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I was massively gutted with how the weather was. And you know, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, weather anywhere in terrain, it's so unpredictable. But I was so gutted because part of why I did this track is because I wanted to be able to see what it was like to be at one of the highest points of Fiordland. You know, this beautiful place on earth. It's remote, it's isolated, it's a journey to get to this part of the world, let alone to get to this one specific spot on this trail, on this greatest walk in the world. So my heart totally sunk. I'm looking around and, you know, you can see some of the peaks kind of peeking through. And while it looked beautiful, I also knew what I was missing. Miles of visibility in the distance. So as we're leaving the pass hut, and as we're just about to make the final traverse along the saddle before making our descent, I look up at the skies and I notice something. All of a sudden, there was no more snow. All of a sudden, it was just a fog-like cloud that started to move really quickly. And I stopped. And you could just start to feel just that little bit of a break. And I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but I want you to watch and witness what happens as we're going along the saddle, and you can start to see more in the distance. You can start to see a little bit more of the peaks, and you can tell they have gotten completely covered in snow. Watch and witness what happens.
There is an avalanche happening behind us right now. You can literally see it just past my head. It is so powerful and wild here. Five minutes later, and the skies are completely opening up, revealing where we've been hiking this whole time. Look at this place. It's alpine, it's waterfalls, it's rainforest. It is ridiculously beautiful. My God. It's like the wind is blowing all of the clouds away right now. It's so clear and it's warming up so beautifully. In the past hour, we've had rain, sleet, snow, some people dealing with borderline hypothermia, phenomenal guides, and now this.
Look, look, look. Look at this, look at this. Look way in the distance off to the right. You can see this little patch of blue, and it's almost like a little bit of sun is hitting the grass. watch the magic that starts to unfold. This is like another world opening up in front of me. But then all of a sudden I hear this huge crack in front of us. I'm talking like a massive crack, like the loudest thunder you could ever witness. And I look over and I see this massive avalanche coming off of a fjord, and it is pouring down like a gargantuan waterfall of snow. Is that not beautiful? I cannot tell you how amazing it is to be able to have gone through the difficulty, the weather that we all went through as a group, to then ultimately get this reward. The views were so much sweeter. We honored them and we're grateful for them so much more than if we had had this perfect sunny day the entire time. We would have missed the waterfalls, we would have missed the challenges, and we would have missed the skies literally opening up in front of us. I could count in this one frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-ish waterfalls just in this one shot. You could really get a sense of the elevation change when you have all of this snow, but such an elevation change that it's already melting and the temps are already warming up that you can literally see the waterfalls pouring down. We are literally at the top of waterfalls. This right here is to this day the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's everything. It's mountain, it's fjord, it's snow, it's waterfall, it's green, lower alpine, and rainforest, and clouds, and blue sky, all in one. I mean, have you ever? I'm so grateful I get to share this with you. There were so many amazing things about this descent. Bear in mind that as we're starting to see blue skies, think about the torrential rain that we have been in for at least 4 to 5 hours. So this terrain, it's slick, it's muddy, it's gravelly, there's shale, it's so easy to slip. But the beauty of that is we had to take our time going down, which means we had more time to really be with this beautiful peak as we were descending deeper into the valley and just start to take in everything that we've experienced on this journey in day 3 so far.
This place is so alive with water in every way imaginable. Waterfalls, walking through waterfalls, snow, rain, avalanches. You really see the power of our waters during this most amazing creative wonder of the world. Evidence made by this amazing waterfall right behind me.
And just like that, it's almost like the past didn't even happen. Here we are back in this beautiful beach rainforest that is even more lush, more vivid, more green from all of the rain that this area experienced. And it's like this opportunity to decompress from everything that we have been through together as a group. So gosh, let's just enjoy this beautiful stillness and terrain that we're in now as we're about to make our way to our final checkpoint of the Quinton Lodge to wrap up day 3 and the 15 kilometers that we have traversed on this incredibly epic journey together.
That is a very welcome sight. After a solid 8 hours of hiking through torrential rain, and then freezing rain, and then snow, and then beautiful blue skies and rainforests, I'm very happy to now have found the Quinton Lodge, which is base camp for night number 3. You our gorgeous site. Home sweet home for night number 3. And I have the place all to myself. So happy. Everyone's been lovely, but really happy to have my own space.
Now, just when you think a girl hasn't had enough hiking for a day, here I think is the ultimate test to see how much of a hiker a person really is. We've gone through 15 kilometers. We've gone through torrential rain, sleet, snow, up to the high pass, avalanches, the clouds parting, descending down through slippery mud, more waterfalls and hanging bridges. When you get to the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, you have a choice, and you have a very, very important choice. You have a choice to stay at the lodge, to rest, enjoy your snacks, get to your warm bed, or you have a choice to go to Sutherland Falls and add another 90 minutes of hiking out and back to your day to experience the tallest waterfall in New Zealand. What would you do?
It feels so insanely awesome and surreal to have finally made it, going over the McKinnon Pass in what I think were probably some of the most intense conditions that you could possibly imagine. Going through crazy alpine conditions and cold and snow and massive whiteouts. It makes it all worth it to be here at the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Lodge. Now get ready to do a hike to the Sutherland Falls, just an extra 90 minutes to the day to see the largest waterfall in New Zealand. Let's do this.
It's not every day in your life that you get to see one of the tallest waterfalls in the world, which I knew was going to be epic because of all the rain we just had. So come on, let's go check it out.
Sutherland Falls, longest waterfall in New Zealand.
Okay, we'll just make a break for it.
Coming to you from the tallest waterfall in New Zealand. This is Sutherland Falls. Woo!
Coming back to the lodge, knowing everything that we have experienced, including the waterfall, was a most welcome sight.
What? So good. Here are the views.
Happy dinner. And to put a little cherry on top, our guides, who are amazing, who not only guide us, who keep us safe, they also help feed us. There's these amazing kitchen crews in each of the lodges, but the guides also bring the foods to us, and they do the briefings, and they make sure we're all ready to go for every single day. But tonight in particular, I think they realized that we needed a little dose of humor because of everything that we've been through. And then this lodge, I gotta tell you, all of the lodges were amazing, but this one was so fantastic because you get to lounge in this beautiful sunroom after dinner, watch the sunset, look up at the majestic fjords, and for me in particular, I held up by the fire and chilled reading through a New Zealand mountaineering book for a little extra inspiration, because when in Rome, what else do you read? And I gotta tell you, I was completely humbled as I was flipping through the pages to see what men and women mountaineering in the early 1900s wore. I had nothing to complain about having my waterproof gear. Day 4 is actually the longest day of the Milford Track, where we'll be traversing 13.5 miles. That's around 21 kilometers, essentially a half marathon. Now, luck so has it that this in particular day is focused on a mainly gentle descent all the way down to 2 checkpoints. So our first checkpoint is going to be Sandfly Point, and then we are going to take a boat from Sandfly Point, and it lives up to the name. And then we will take that to the Milford Sound Lodge, which is phenomenally profound, where we're going to be spending tonight to then wake up the next day and take a boat cruise on the Milford Sound in 𝗪𝗹𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀 and enjoy what is known as the 8th wonder of the world. So welcome to the final leg of the Milford Track, one of the greatest walks of the world. And on this day in particular, it's going to be celebratory, peaceful, beautiful, bittersweet, all the feels. Let's let the journey unfold. Now, before we get into the beautiful landscapes that involve days 4 and 5 with more lush rainforests and waterfalls and of course the Milford Sound, I want to share with you one of the most powerful things about this experience. I was talking to one of the guides last night, chilling at that amazing lodge, and asked the guides about what it is like to work with groups who go through this amount of terrain, this amount of elevation gain, the diversity of the landscapes, and of course, the weather and the challenges. What do they notice and see? And the guide that I'd befriended, she had said to me, the groups that experience the toughest conditions, the worst weather, are the groups that get along the best and they have the best experience. And she said to me, the groups that get to do the Milford Track with full sunshine, not a drop of rain, unobstructed views for days, aren't nearly as satisfied and they aren't nearly as grateful. And I listened to her and I thought, man, does that just teach me everything about life? When things come to us easily, it's hard to be as grateful for them, because if it just comes easily, you don't appreciate the trials, the challenges, the limits, the fears, the discomfort that we have been through on the first 3 days of the Milford Track so far. But that magical moment when the rain stopped and the snow stopped falling and the temperature started to warm and the clouds started to move and the sky started to part and we could start to see the fjords all around us, was that not more magnificent after seeing what the journey had been to get there? And while I have so many memories already from the first 3 days of this experience, that lesson, that nugget of wisdom will stick with me for the rest of my life. And I hope it sticks with you too in your own way. So let's celebrate together as we experience the next 21 kilometers of the Milford Track and get to experience more of the diversity of this lush, remote, rugged, and wildly beautiful place. After experiencing how intense the conditions were for day 3 and how much my body aches in this moment of the trek, to be able to just listen and take in the bird song that is Fiordland National Park in New Zealand was profound. It took all the pain away. It took all of the discomfort away. It reminded me of exactly why I love to do these things. And it's one of my most favorite parts of New Zealand, a country that has no predatory or dangerous animals. Its most popular animal outside of sheep are birds.
Every lodge has been massively hard to leave, only because each lodge is so beautiful and the staff are so beautiful. Kindred spirits, nomadic spirits, love the outdoors, keeping life simple. So shout out to you guys if you're seeing this, massive love. Thanks for making my stay at Quinton Lodge that much more magical. Looking forward to our paths crossing again. Excited for the journey ahead today.
All right, day 4, Sandfly Point. Ready to finish this amazing track and enter the bush.
Somewhere in the distance, far, far behind me now, looms McKinnon Pass. Who knows what's happening up there today? Probably more snow. You can see the distance of how far I've come on the track and enjoying the awesome beauty of this last leg. But I'm taking my sweet time because I want to enjoy it all.
just so you have an idea of the power of this place, right behind me is a massive load of tree debris that happened from a pretty recent avalanche not too long ago. Literally one tree, one very, very lucky tree survived. But then you can just see how the trees were taken down just instantly by this. Pretty crazy. And it's crazy too because there's some spots on this track where they actually say, don't stop, just keep going. So it's a pretty humbling place to be in. And it's always good to be mindful of the signage and not hang around for too long. I was just about to share a little lesson I've learned on this track, but I'm walking through some water, so wanted to give that a second. Tell you what, I learned something new on every trail, and naturally a lot of that is learning about a new part of the world, locations, geography. What I tend to learn more is more about who to be and how to be present in life. And it's funny because, you know, I find myself at a place in life where my fitness has really improved over the past couple of years with all the hiking that I've done. And because of that, I can go a lot faster and a lot further than I used to. We got a little little step down, there we go. So, but and it's so interesting. So like today is 13.5 miles. For some that could feel like nothing, for others could feel like a load of hiking to do in a day. For me, it feels super doable. You know, I could hike / run a lot of this and crank it out in 4 hours, maybe a little over. But this place really teaches you to be. And I have 8 hours today to do this hike, which for me is a snail's pace now. But so much of my life I have had to feel like I've had to push myself and crush it and succeed and hit my goals and put all this pressure and stress on myself. And this is a really good example that even as you're pursuing goals, sometimes the most important bit is actually about slowing down the pace and just being with where you are, taking your time with it, trusting that you'll continue to get better, you know, and continue to evolve. But I find that every hike is so different. And what the Milford Track is really teaching me is this is a track of patience and being present. If you like to trail run, ultras, mountain marathons, any of that stuff, come here and go as slow as you can. Take in what this place has to offer. Stop and look around a lot. Take at least twice the amount of time that you normally would on a trail of this distance. And then maybe come back and do it a little different. I like the idea of coming back and seeing if I can do all of this in a day. A really long, full day in a New Zealand summer. But today is not that day. So if you find yourself rushing through life or rushing on a trail all the time, try out something a little different next time and go slow and pause and just hang out with where you are. You might be surprised how amazing of an experience that feels to let the go-getter go for a little bit.
Before you know it, the journey is done and nothing is left but a memory. So being able to live through this experience and make these memories even deeper and more profound, it's a really beautiful thing for me, and it's such a joy to share it with you.
I'm standing in the middle of the swing bridge here, right by the 𝗪𝗪𝗪 River that is so insanely emerald green. It's kind of trippy just standing here. But I'm taking a moment before other people get on to be in this beautiful space and this beautiful valley all around.
As you can tell, I do not want this to be over, so I should have just ran back up the McKinnon Pass and be a glutton for punishment and see what was up there waiting for me on day 4. But probably wouldn't have gotten the seal of approval to do that from the guides. So I'll be a good girl and I'll keep moving on. Oh my God. During this rest stop, you could literally see how hot my feet are by the steam coming out of my boots. I'm so sorry, Keens. My God, everything I've put you through, and you just stick with me. Have your feet ever created so much heat in hiking boots that it made your boots steam? Well, if you want to know what that feels like, do the Milford Track. How's that for a ringing endorsement? All right, this is the final stop before finishing the Milford Track. Gone just a little bit over 30 miles. They're just under 3 miles left. Nice little resting spot before wrapping this baby up. Can't wait to see the end. It's amazing so far. See you on the other side.
Just hit mile marker number 32. You know what that means? 1 more mile to go!
Oh, I'm starting to become the sentimental Jen now. You can tell when I'm hugging mile markers and lingering with some moments and some life lessons that it's really starting to hit me and all the bittersweet vibes of the feeling of satisfaction, what will be soon completing the trek, but also feeling its end coming near too.
Mile 33, baby. I mean, Stand-Fly Point is just around the corner. Woo! Just made it to the end of the Milford Track here at Stand-Fly Point. Ready to get picked up on boat to head across to 𝗪𝗏 and have a massive celebratory drink and dinner. I cannot believe it. I can't believe that I've done it. This is the first time I've ever done a long distance hike with massive backpacking, and it feels so freaking good. It's a beautiful track. Thanks for joining the journey with me. I can't even take a photo because the sandflies are so nuts. So figured I would capture just these steps. Oh my God, they're horrible. Screw this, it's too much. But here's the sign. That's Stand-Fly Point. Yay, made it. 33.5 miles from the Glade House via the McKinnon Pass to Stand-Fly Point, Milford Track. Check. It is such a crazy, surreal feeling knowing that I finished the 33 miles, having never done any kind of hiking like this. And I gotta tell you, if it is on your list, please hike this track as soon as possible. You're going to experience everything from alpine terrain to rainforest terrain to snow and rain if you're lucky, because I'll tell you what, don't wait for the sunshine, baby. When you get rain, this valley comes completely alive with waterfalls, high running streams, avalanches. It's phenomenal to witness and be a part of. So, and if it's not on your list and you're keen to do more hiking in your life, add the Milford Track to your list and do it as soon as possible. Make that bucket list happen.
At this point of day 4, I'd like to give a ringing endorsement for torrential rainfalls, because when there's torrential rain while doing the Milford Track, you don't have to deal with one thing: sandflies. When it's a sunny day and it's nice and warm and steamy and humid, the sandflies will love you. And Stand-Fly Point definitely lives up to its name. But thankfully, our respite there was quite quick, as the boat was waiting for us to take us on this beautiful cherry on top experience for us to take a boat to the Milford Lodge, where we'll be resting our heads for this evening, our final evening of the Milford Track. I am completely blown away by the views of Milford Sound. The peaks in the distance, one of them 𝗪𝗏. It's one of the most photographed peaks in the world.
As if this day could not get any more epic, the final night of the Milford Track
is staying at the 𝗪𝗏𝗁 Lodge, and all of the rooms face out looking at the 8th wonder of the world. This is insane. These views are just, they're stunning. They are completely out of this world. I feel so blessed and so grateful, and just to have a bed and my own room, feels so good. And so, I can't even talk. I'm so excited. I couldn't even believe these views. Look at how massive these peaks are. It is just the most amazing place. Good morning. It's officially the final day of the Milford Track experience. Wrapping things up with an amazing boat cruise here at Milford Sound with 𝗪𝗏𝗁 behind. Got 2 hours on this beautiful water, this amazing scenery to just take in these phenomenal peaks and this wild part of the planet. It is so beautiful here. Can't wait to share more of this with you. See you out there on the water.
And as I take you on the final moments of our journey together, 5 days, 33.5 miles of the Milford Track, I hope there's a few things that you take with you. One, how profound Fiordland is. How amazing it is to be able to see and experience and fall in love with this remote region of the world. If it inspires you to experience it by air, by foot, by boat, I hope that you love every single minute of it in the way that I have, and I hope this inspires you to plan a trip to this region of the world. And if you were to take anything with you, it is the fact that there are places on this world that are untouched. There are places in this world that are still so pure in so many ways, and for me, when I think of Fiordland, I not only think of stepping back in time to what nature looks like when it's unscathed and can just exist and grow and be wild and free, but I think about the Maori, I think about the New Zealanders, I think about the greenstone, I think about what the Maori discovered when they first saw greenstone in Fiordland and the power of Pounamu, the energy and the heart of Pounamu. So I want to leave with you a gift. Just like when you go and buy Pounamu in New Zealand, you never buy it for yourself. You buy it, wear it, and put your mana, your energy into it, and then you give it to the person that you got it for. My gift to you is my mana, my energy, my love for these types of experiences, my love for seeing these places in the world where we can immerse ourselves in the people, in the nature, in the culture, and in all of the feels that this experience can bring. So I hope and trust and believe in my heart of hearts as I am giving you my energy, my love for exploring, for getting out there, for seeing the things that are wild and raw and beautiful and epic and profound, that it stirs that within you, your explorer, After watching this, what does this make you want to do more of, to see more of, to be more of? Exploring this goes beyond the destinations. It goes beyond being able to do things or check things off a list. It's about awakening the versions within you that make your soul sing. Sending all of my love to you on this amazing, epic, challenging, raw, and powerful journey that is the Milford Trek. This concludes our amazing bucket list experience of the greatest walk in the world. I'm your host, Ahana. Thank you so much for being on the journey with me, and I cannot wait to see you in the next adventure. Till next time. Hey, thanks so much for watching today's episode. Take a second and like this video, then subscribe to Explore This so you can get notified on when the next episodes come out, where we're going to be seeking adventure, tasting the world, and discovering everything. So excited to have you with me. I'm your host, Ahana, and I will see you next time. Wonder how many times I say "of the world" in these videos. It clearly is a catchphrase of mine. Sorry, not sorry.